Hello, welcome to Group 5's website and presentation related to autonomous vehicles. We would like to discuss some of the issues, uses, and opportunities that this new technology presents.
Two issues that I feel as though self-driving cars would create for the future would be number one, insurance. With self-driving cars, you have to think who's going to be responsible for car damages since no humans are technically behind the wheel. So you have to really decide on whose insurance will be covering for those damages. The second issue would include, say, for example, if construction is going on and it will cause a road to change or something. How fast can the satellites pick up those changes? So I just feel as though these two things will pose an issue for self-driving cars. Okay, so three differences between two companies that are implementing the self-driving car technology. Well, first and foremost, the two companies would be Volvo and Waymo. So the first difference would be Volvo. They haven't quite launched their self-driving cars just yet, but it is intended to be released sometime next year. Whereas Waymo have already released their commercial robo taxi service December of last year. Um, so they're kind of ahead in the self-driving technology game. The second difference will be with their partnerships between different companies. Volvo is going to partner with Uber to launch self-driving cars later on this year, whereas Waymo is they are partnering with Walmart, Avis, and AutoNation to grant people to grant more access to self-driving cars. The third difference would be in order for Waymo to make more money, they are in the process of selling their self-driving technology to a company that doesn't compete with their current business in the robo-taxi um, industry. So those are the three differences.
Casey, what are some of the potential uses of this technology?
Well, that's a good question. We're obviously going to see it go into the private sector first and auto sales there. And then from that, we'll probably see it branch into an Uber or a Lyft type of a company for taxi services in and around bigger cities. And then potentially in a few years down the line, you could see it go into public transportation and take over the bus routes, trolleys, trains, and stuff of that nature. But again, that could take a little bit of time because you're going to displace a lot of the workers and a lot of the workforce for those different jobs like that. So they might take a little bit more time to fully integrate that. And then even further down the line, you can go into construction vehicles, front end loaders, dump trucks, semis, things of that nature, long distance trains. All of those are going to require a little bit more work just because of the difference in how they're actually going to work. Because these things do take a little bit more mapping in some scenarios and stuff of that nature of the area they're actually going into. So it might take them a little bit more time, but eventually I think we'll get there and we'll see them a fully integrated system for pretty much anything automated at one point in time will all be autonomously operated.
Steve, which industries do you envision being most impacted as a result of this technology?
One of the industries that is most likely to be impacted by the use of autonomous vehicles is that of commercial transportation, whether that be truck drivers, bus drivers, or those that drive for Uber and Lyft. Goldman Sachs anticipates more than 300,000 jobs being lost in this area. A lot of the truck drivers will be reassigned from less of a long haul type of position to more of a specialized last mile delivery system where they would maybe have 10 different trucks that they would be delivering in a given day, whereas the autonomous vehicles would handle the bulk of that driving. Another industry that's likely to be heavily impacted is that of real estate and building design. Currently, malls have almost 10 parking spaces per 1,000 square foot of retail space blueprint, but that is likely to change dramatically, as is the use of commercial buildings, even housing, which would in the past has had anywhere from 2 to 3 garages, may or may not decide to use a garage as more people elect towards autonomous vehicles or even driving services. This is going to have quite an impact. Buildings such as stadiums, for instance, would be completely redesigned as far as their use of parking, and they need to have more of a almost like a school line pickup system for thousands of people, as opposed to the current structure that's in place.
Trong, can you describe some ethical challenges of self-driving cars and how we can solve this problem?
One of the major ethical issues with self-driving technology is the moral dilemma posed by accident and unavoidable death. For example, should a self-driving vehicle kill a passenger or pedestrian to save all passengers on board, or should it kill all passengers on board to save a pregnant woman and her dog? Um, so I think that decision is very hard to make, and self-driving technology does not have that ability to make sound judgment based on those conditions. I think it has to be up to the company who are coming up with self-driving technology. It is their duty to invest in technology such as artificial intelligence to minimize risk to human life, physical property, and maybe animal, for instances. So, from my understanding, artificial intelligence will ensure that the vehicle make the best decision under variation of condition and circumstances to make the best decision that would minimize harm to human life and property.